everyone. Welcome to this new episode of our Student Spotlight series, where we are able to showcase some of the work our past students have done. I'm Charlotte, one of the outreach coordinators here at CCIR, and it's our pleasure today to have Asha with us, who did our one-on-one mentorship. So, firstly, can you just introduce yourself? So, tell us where you're from, what year you are in school, and then what made you seek out CCIR.
So first, thank you so much for having me. Hi again, my name is Asha. I'm a current junior at Singapore American School, but I was born and raised in India. And I was drawn to the one-on-one research mentorship program because I've had an interest in anthropology for quite a while now, specifically religious anthropology and, the role religion has in identity and nation building. So this was an interest I really wanted to get deeper into. So that's why I decided to pursue independent research.
Great. And then what made you seek out CCIR specifically? Had you had experience with this topic before in school?
I've done a previous summer course that introduced me to the idea of anthropology and religious anthropology, but I chose CCR specifically because the mentor was a professor, and I thought that would just give me a better understanding of the subject, just because the person I'd be working with who would be mentoring me would have more experience in the topic. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Can you give us a general overview of what your course was about?
Okay, so my mentor was Dr. Harold Wydra from Cambridge University, and I worked with him to write a paper that firstly looked into the origins of the Ayodhya dispute. So, what factors created an environment that allowed this dispute to happen? And then, secondly, what were the contemporary consequences of this dispute? And just for like some historical context, because I'm not sure if everyone knows what I'm talking about. So Ayodhya is a holy city in India, and India has a long history of Hindu-Muslim conflict. So most recently, this is manifested in the rise of the Hindutva movement, which is um, centered around a Hindu nationalist ideology. So basically placing Hindus first. And Ayodhya has become somewhat of a symbol um, for this Hindu-Muslim tension because of an incident in the early 1990s where a Muslim mosque in Ayodhya, the Barbary Masjid, was just demolished by a Hindu nationalist mob. And simultaneously, there's also this huge legal battle between Hindu and Muslim groups over ownership of the land. And what drew me to this event was that recently, like in 2024, a new Hindu temple dedicated to Ram was built on the site of the demolished mosque. So I wanted to understand the historical significance for this event and also, answer the question, what does this mean for Hindu-Muslim tensions in India today?
Interesting. And in terms of kind of did you come into the program knowing this is exactly what you wanted to research this topic?
No. So, like I said earlier, I did have some previous experience with anthropology, and I did come in knowing my area of interest, which was, religion and its role in government, really. And I knew I wanted to focus in a Southeast Asian context. But I really appreciate Dr. Wider because he took me to through the process of narrowing down a topic. So, we started kind of broad. We talked about religion in Southeast Asia and, governments and how governments change. And then I pretty quickly figured out I want to focus on India. So he started giving me, literature on Hindutva and the rise of the Hindu nationalist movement and what it means to be secular, really. So we had a lot of like discussion over this. And I basically, through that discussion, came to understand I did want to focus on the Ayodhya dispute just because it was such a significant um issue in modern Indian history. So he really helped me getting to that point.
Interesting. That's very cool. All right, so now we're going to discuss your specific research paper. So you've already given us a general overview of what the topic was. Can you now walk us through your research methods? What type of research did you conduct? What type of data did you collect? And what was the process of gathering that and analyzing it?
So you might have guessed my paper is a historical review. So what I did was that I took pre-existing literature on the Ayodhya dispute, and I basically took the information they gave and used that information to answer a new point, which was, like I said, what were the factors that contributed to this dispute, and then taking that literature and my analysis of, the historical proceedings, I then applied it to a modern context. So I looked at, current perspectives of the Ram temple, and I basically, yeah, I gave like another analysis on what this could mean for India and what this signaled basically.
Nice. And then in terms of your findings, can you walk us through those and maybe what you was anything surprising to you or challenging to figure out?
Um, my findings were what I expected and also not what I expected. Um, Basically, there were a lot of factors that contributed to this environment I was talking about earlier. So, notably, like I said, there was a lot of historical tension, but then that needed to be built upon by, parties aligned with Hindu nationalist ideology. So, like rallies from, the VHP or the BJP that really brought this issue from a local, conscious to the national stage. Um, so that really was like the main factor in making this dispute so closely aligned with Hindutva ideology. But at the same time, like other small, like contributing factors let this happen. So the then dominating party at the time, the Indian National Congress, they weren't really successful in, containing or dissipating tension or protecting the mosque in the first place. And then simultaneously, the legal system wasn't able to settle the case brought by Hindu and Muslim parties over ownership. And then again, there really wasn't any like legal responsibility like placed on those who had a role contributing to the destruction. So again, there was a lot of factors, and that basically answered my first part of the question. And then for my second question over the contemporary consequences, I basically found that this was kind of a symbol of Hindu strength in a way. And there was a lot of fear now in like the Muslim community, especially since BJP is the current dominant party in India. So I found that other mosques, other historical mosques, were being, threatened by or challenged with the same claims that the Barbary mosque faced. So I think this is a pattern we might see where other Muslim mosques are, claimed to be Hindu temples, and Hindu ownership claims these mosques. So yeah.
Interesting. And it definitely is, such a complex issue. Did any part of your paper or just your opinion in general, if it wasn't part of your paper, think about kind of potential ways moving forward and how maybe this could be mitigated? Obviously, there's tons of factors, as you mentioned.
I think a huge step is understanding what can secularism in India look like. Because India actually is a secular country. You just wouldn't realize it from like an outsider perspective, just looking in, just because Hindu ideology dominates so much of its politics. So I think the first step is like trying to understand how we can, you know, bring this idea of a secular India that the Constitution imagined and like actually, you know, um, allow modern India to replicate that image. Like, obviously, this is a very complicated issue. I don't really think I can give a singular solution, but I think that's the step India should try to take moving forward.
Yeah, definitely. And then in terms of publishing, I know you said before that you have not successfully published yet. Is that something that's on your mind? Are you hoping to work with our team to do so?
Yeah, so right now I'm currently editing my paper. So I've been in touch with the CCIR team and, they've helped me with editing a bit. Hopefully I'll publish soon. And again, like CCR has been like helpful. And my mentor, actually, Dr. Wydra, highlighted some possible journals that could take me both at like high school level and undergraduate level. So I'm gonna choose one of those soon and hopefully publish.
Nice. Yeah, that would definitely be great to get this out into the public. So now we're going to discuss your general experience with CCIR. So firstly, can you briefly tell us what your experience was like in the in the program itself, doing a high-level research project like this as a high school student?
Um, at first it was the entire process was challenging because obviously this was like a high level paper. But again, I really appreciate my mentor because the way he approached the process was allowed me to understand like where we were getting to. And there were clear steps taken to like get me to come to an idea for my research paper. So that was formulating the idea. And then when it actually came to writing, Dr. Ryder, he was really helpful in like critiquing my writing and, helping me pull out parts that were really useful and like placing my entire paper and helping like the synthesis of my ideas. So he gave me a lot of great literature and vocabulary, which really helped me like put my ideas into writing. So even though it was challenging to write, I think I had a lot of support writing it.
Great. And then what was the research process and experience compared to other papers or projects that you've done in school before?
First of all, it was a lot longer. I think the longest paper I've written in school might have been like 2,000 words. And I ended up writing, and I think my paper might have been over 7,000 words once it was done. So it was a much bigger task than I've ever done before. Um, secondly, this was my first experience with historical research. So I've had like some previous experience with like ethnographic or, in-person observations. But historical research is like a whole nother beast. So I had to learn how to, you know, analysis, and stuff like that. But again, I was supported a lot throughout the process. So even though this was like the most challenging thing I've probably ever done, um, it didn't feel like overwhelming.
Great. Yeah, it definitely is a whole different beast compared to writing traditional essays in school. My next question is about your access to having such a niche course. So obviously, I would say in high school and even in your first 1 or 2 years of uni, these courses are kind of History 101 or, East Asia history. It's all very broad. What was it like being able to access a mentor that has expertise in the area as well as learning about such a niche topic?
Right. So like I said earlier, I chose CCIR because I knew the mentor I would be placed with would have a lot of experience in my area of study. And I really appreciated this experience because anthropology isn't such a widely studied topic. Especially, it just gets smaller and smaller, like religious anthropology, then religions in Southeast Asia. It's just a very small pool. So this is an experience I would never have gotten to do through, traditional like school, or probably like normal structured programs. So I appreciate the fact that I was allowed to like craft my own uh research according to my interests rather than like a pre-selected course that, someone might have traditionally done.
Yeah, and I think it's even great for prospective students to hear that we can also host students who aren't just in the STEM subjects, and that you can have a really fulfilling, challenging course and experience writing a paper when you're not just in the STEM subjects. So just a few more questions for you. Do you think this course has given you any insights into your future? Has it maybe informed or shaped how you think of your path moving forward, either academically or in your career?
Yeah, so I really love research. Like this is something I came to understand because even though the process was really hard, I did enjoy doing it. So, that's informed kind of my college decisions and stuff because now I know I do want to study anthropology at least at some level, and I would like to go to a university that encourages undergraduate research. So, this wasn't something I was so sure of before, just because I never didn't really know if I enjoyed it at like the more academic level. But I'm really happy I was able to do this because it was just so fun and so interesting. And it's been really helpful so far.
Great. And then my last question for you, what would you say to someone who asked you what the value of doing a project or a program like this is, especially for a high school student?
I mean, um, I think obviously there's like a pride aspect. Like I wrote this, like I worked really hard on this and hopefully I get to share it with the world. Um, but it's really just a chance to, I think, explore your interests, especially if your interests are kind of more niche, and you just have less really opportunity to engage in them. So, like again, me, like I'm new, I liked religion, I was interested in anthropology. I gotta take it to the next level here, right? And I really got to like learn what it could be like, at a higher level institution and, studying this subject. So, I think like one, if you're just really creative and you do want to create something that showcases your interests, you should consider doing a research paper. But also if you want to make sure whatever you're interested in, like this is something you would like to do in the future, because you're gonna spend your next 4 years of your life on this, then I think this is a chance to, at least confirm at some level this is what you're interested in.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a really great opportunity to confirm that. So thank you so much for chatting to me. That brings us to the end of our interview, and congratulations again on your nomination to our Spotlight series.
Thank you.